Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in order to be a good DevOps engineer and a good Linux user, in general, you need to have a good understanding about some Linux commands from basic to advanced. And if you want to do that in professional level, you must have to know some of the basic as well as the advanced commands in command line in Linux specifically. So in this video, I'm gonna share some of the commands with you so that you can be a good DevOps and Linux user or engineer, if I say so. And this just not only helps you in DevOps or Linux, but in general it also boosts your confidence as well. So I'm gonna start with some basics and then I'll move back to the advanced ones. So if I'm assuming that you're totally a beginner and you don't really have that much of an idea about Linux, so I'll start with the very basic. And if you have a good idea and say that you are an advanced Linux user, probably you can skip to like first 2 to 3 minutes and then you'll be able to see what I'm saying. So in Linux, what we do first, let's say that this is my home folder, right? So whenever I open a terminal, this is my terminal, okay, right? This is where I land, this is my home. The way you say, for example, you open browser, this is where you land, right? Where it is your main home, where you can open your desktop, dev, documents, downloads and other stuff. Similarly in terminal, here I can say, for example, if I do pwd, that means present working directory or current working directory, it shows me where I am right now, and this is my home folder, okay? Inside home I have this archive, my username, and inside that here am I currently stating at. Now in order to see what are the things there in this folder, what I can do list, which is ls, and it will list all the files and directories in this current directory. As you can see, I have some video files as well as a desktop, dev, documents, downloads, experiments and all that. Similarly to this one, right, you can see dev, desktop, documents and etc. So similarly all of these things are here. So with that said, and say that you want to switch to dev folder, so what you can do cd dev, so it will switch to that folder. You can see now if I do pwd, which is present working directory or current working directory, you can see I'm in the dev. So yeah, that's how you can do. And cd means change directory, as these will make you move one folder to another folder. And similarly if I do cd space dot dot, it will go back to the previous one. And now if I do pwd, you can see I'm again back to my home folder. So now let's say that I have these folders and I want to go into this experiments folder, say for example, okay? So I can do cd experiments, and inside that I'm right now inside the experiments folder. Here I can list down all the files and folders. So for example, I want to see what are the things there in this hello.txt. So for example, if I do cat.hello.txt, it will show me all of the contents that are inside this, right? So cat is used to display the contents of a file. And then say I have this hello.txt and I want to copy this file and put it somewhere else. How can I do that? So before that, I want to show you how I can create a folder. So for example, I want to create a new folder. I will do mkdir or make directory. So in this make directory, I can create a folder called subs, okay? As you can see, there is no folder called subs, so I'll just do mkdir or make directory subs. So it will create a new folder. As you can see, there's a new folder, and folders are marked with a different color than the files, right? Now again I can go into the subs folder and you'll see there's nothing else. So same, I can do cd dot dot and I'm again in the experiments folder. Now say that I have this hello.txt, I want to copy this and put it in the subs. In order to copy this, I can do cp and the file name and in which folder I want to copy this. Say in this current section I want to do in subs, so I'll just do subs and it will copy this and put it there. So if I go into subs, you can see I have this hello.txt. You can do one more thing. Say if I go back and instead of going inside this and then doing hello.txt, I mean ls, and then you get to see, you can it's just do ls subs, and that will also show you what are the things that are inside this subs folder, right? And now so that instead of copy, you just directly want to move some file in inside this subs folder. So for example, I have this jello.txt, I want to move this into the subs, right? In order to do that, you can do mv, that is called move, right? This move command is also used to rename files. I'll show you that in a second. So for example, say that I want to move this jello.txt to subs. So similarly, jello.txt into sub. So we use mv as a move command and put it into jello.txt and then subs. Hit enter, and I'm again, if I do ls.subs, you can see I have now jello.txt, but in experiments folder, right? If I do ls only in experiments folder, you see there is no jello.txt anymore. Earlier there was a jello.txt, but now it's gone and it's inside the subs folder, right? So now, so that I want to rename this file. So for example, if I go inside the subs folder and I have this jello.txt, I want to rename this something, say move jello.txt to something called trailer.txt or whatever, right? So if I do that, now you can see I have trailer.txt. So the command is like, you first give your command, say for example this is your command, and then the main, the file name, and then the new file name. So this is how you can actually do it. You first give your first file name, which one you want to actually change, and then you just give the new name and it changes to that one. Similarly this one, okay? And after that, again same, just repeating that. Say for example, you want to check what are the things inside this trailer.txt. you can do that using cat command. Is used to display the contents inside some folder or a file. Is sorry, only file, not a folder, okay? And trailer.txt, it shows hello world, trailer.txt. Now say that I want to check what are the things inside this hello.txt, but in an interactive way. So I can do less hello.txt. So the less command is used to check what are the things inside this. So if I do enter, you can see I'm in interactive mode where I can just go up and down, and these are the things only then. And you can see end, that means I'm in the end. You can also scroll your mouse and it will interact. You just can interact directly, and if you hit Q, it will exit out of that. Now say that instead of visiting interactively, you just want to print first few lines of, say if I open this hello.txt, so I have 24 line. If I want to print the first 10 lines, how I can print that? So head is the command to display some lines from first para of some file. So in this case, I want to print the first 10 lines of hello.txt, whatever the content inside that file. So head, and then n is number, and the number is 10, the line number, which is I want to see total 10 number of line inside that hello.txt from first, okay? And hello.txt, and as you can see, I can see all of the first ones, and instead of 10 I can also do like something 5, yeah, so it will print 5. Instead of 5 you can also do 15. It's totally up to you, and it will exactly print that many numbers of line. Now say instead of from the beginning you want to check from last, so you can do tail, so it will print all the numbers from behind, I mean the end of the file. So if I do tell n6, for example hello.txt, this will print opa. And if I open this file, so nv, by the way, nv is like a neo vim that I'm using, that's why I'm doing nv. But if you just do nv in any by default Linux or command line, it will not work. This is a shortcut that I'm using to open NeoVim. So this is what is NeoVim, okay? So this opens my editor, NeoVim editor, which I use to edit or write code, okay? And the shortcut I use called nv, and I'm opening this hello.txt in my NeoVim editor. So if I see that I have opa at the end of this file, so similarly you can see, because I wanted to print 6 lines from the end or behind from this hello.txt, I got 6 opas. Instead of 6 I can also do 6. Instead of 6 I can also do 16, right? It will print me all the 16 lines from behind. Now say that you want to search a pattern, and patterns is like you want to search something inside a file. Say let me open this hello.txt again. You can see I have like hello world. So hello is a pattern that goes for these hello world, or you can see HELL, hell is a pattern that follows this hello world. Same goes for DU, that follows this. Same goes for OPP, O follows a pattern. Okay, so what I can do grep is used to display the pattern or search for pattern in files. Okay, so say I want to search for the hello world or something, and I want to see where are the patterns leaves behind. So I can say hell, because I don't know, say for example I don't know what are the things, but I want to see if there's any pattern matches this hell word, and then I'll just give the file name, which is hello.txt, and there you can see that it matches with these ones. Similarly, instead of hello or hill, I can also do like war something, and it will print all the lines that matches with this particular word. Similarly, if I instead of war, I can choose like op, and it will print all the ones. So you can also just do o as well, that will also work. So yeah, that's how you can search for patterns in files. Now say that I have some files over here, I want to create a file. How can I create a file? Say I want to create a shell file. So if you don't know, shell is a kind of a language we use to write shell script. It's like an executable file. We execute this to run some cron jobs, we run some scripts, and that's it. So the extension that we use is sh. Just like we use txt for text file, we use sh for shells, or bash. It's just a different abbreviations. Okay, and in order to create a file, let me just clear this. Yeah, so in order to create a file, we use touch command. So touch, then file name, say subscribe dot sh. So we use sh to create the shell file. Okay, if I hit enter and ls, you can see there's this subscribe.sh. so if I open this in my editor now, and let's say that I want to do echo, so if I save this, so now I have this subscribe in my this line inside this shell script. So I just written a simple echo which will just print print subscribe whenever I run this file. So now if I want to run this like ./subscribe, but wait, do you really think this will work if I just hit enter? No. Why? Because in order to run a shell file, you need to execute that, right? That means to execute that file needs to be executable. But right now, this file is not executable at all. And how do you, even if I show you, yeah, so this one, see there is no executable. How do I know that there is no executable? You see this X means executable, but you can see in this subscribe one, there is no X. That means it's not executable. So how do I make it executable so that I can run it? And before I execute that, if I want to like show you that it will not work, it says permission denied subscribe.sh. So I can't really run it. This is where in order to change the file permission, we use chmod. Okay, and chmod and then plus x. We use this plus x, that means we are giving the permission to execute this file, and then whatever your script file name is. So in my case it's subscribe.sh. It finishes, and if I do ls now, you can see the color also changed to green. Now if I run the same thing, subscribe, you can see it says subscribe, right? So this is how you can use chmod command to in order to change the file permission, executable or any other readable, writable, whatever you want to do. If you go home page, this is my home page. Okay, when you do only cd, it directly takes you to your home directory. Wherever you are, doesn't matter, it only directly takes you to the home page just by doing cd. If I do pwd, whatever comes after home, that is your username. So in my case it's Archie. Now the point here that I'm trying to make is this Archie is not running on sudo. What is that? Means it's not running on root. That means it doesn't have the root permissions at all. And when you run root, it's not safe as well. So computer does not run your username or your user as a root always. So you have to specifically mention in order to run root or access some files or do some actions or perform some actions in root environment in your Linux operating system. Even though Linux itself is not an operating system, it's just a kernel. On top of Linux, we do make our own kind of wrappers which we call operating systems. So in this case, in order to run root, I can do sudo su, then it will ask me for my password. I'll give the password, and you can see it directly went into the root mode. Now whatever I do, it will not ask for my password and it will only run using root. So if I exit out of that, what I wanted to show you, in order to access or execute any command with super user or administrative user or root access, right, you use sudo. For example, I want to update my system and I'm using Arch Linux, and in order to access something, or say I want to update my system, I can do pacman syu, and this will update my system. But you can see it says you cannot perform this operation unless you are root. That means it is asking me for my root permissions or sudo permissions, right? And it's because, as I mentioned, that it is running on non-root permission, I need to give the permission. So in this case, I'll do sudo and then pacman syu, and it will update the system. Okay, and I just cancelled that, by the way. Now that's all about the basic stuff when it comes to the Linux. Now I want to go with some Linux intermediate commands that you might find very useful if you are into DevOps or in general in Linux. So the first command is find. So in find, we use find to search for files and directories based on various criteria. Say I'm in the folder called experiments. Again, in this experiment folder, I have some files and folders, as you can see. So here I want to find all the files that are named after .txt. I'll do find and then I'll do asterisk or star. So this means that I want to find everything inside this experiment folder only. But in this case, say for example, you want to find something else on some other folder, so you can just directly do path and then your folder name or file name, whatever you want to do. So this is mainly the folder. Okay, so here's how to do it. You do home archie, and this is my username, and then you want to go wherever you want to go, you can just do that. But because I want to find only the things inside this experiment folder, I will do only asterisk. Okay, and then the name of the file, in this case name, which is the names that I want to get, and this is how we get this. So .txt, this will find all the files. Okay, and you put asterisk, that means all of the .txt files that you want to get. And if you do that, it will share all of these ones, including the underline or inside the subs of another folder. So inside experiment, I have some another folder called subs, and in that subs I have two more .txts, and those also got printed. So this is how you can find everything inside this experiment folder, and doesn't matter if it has multiple folders in it as well. And this is how you can use the command find. Now there's one more command called sed. Sed is to modify text inside a file. So this is sed command. Okay, so how do we use this command? Say for example, say I have like hello.txt. Here in hello.txt I have hello world and opa, all that stuff. But now I want to change the world to something else. Say I want to change to hello world to hello village. How do I do that? Sed, right? As I mentioned, we can use sed to modify text inside a file, and I'll do this is how you do it. This is like we're defining from where to where. So I'll just do the first word that I want to like change, which is hello world, and then I'll change with the word village. And this G means that this is S means this is the word, and G means this is the word I want to change with. Okay, and where do I want to do that? In hello.txt. Now if I hit enter, as you can see, it became hello village. Earlier it was hello world, now it became hello village. So this is how you can change these things. If I do cat, I can see again it is like hello world. It's just printed me, it's just modified that and printed me. But if you want to just like save this, you can also do that. Then you just do hello txt, and if you do cat, sorry for the background noise, a flight is just wait for a second. Anyways, so as you can see, it printed the hello world as well as the hello village. Okay, so this is how it works. this set command. It has many more things, but just keeping it's very simple, and this is how you said to modify text inside a file. Now there's one more command called awk or awake. This command we use to extract and manipulate data inside a file. Say I want to manipulate this same hello.txt file, so I can do, I can like to print $1. So just guess what we'll do. So if I do hello.txt, so you can see it only printed the hello only. You can see it only printed the first word. So this is how I can manipulate and print stuff, and using this awk command. So similarly, if I instead of do 1, if I do 0, as you can see it prints everything. But instead of 0, if I press 2, you can see it only prints village, upa and everything, because these are the second lines. These are the second lines that it prints. So yeah, that's how we can use awk, and this is we use again to extract and manipulate data. Let me just open this hello.txt again, and as you can see I have hello world, da, opa, hello, da, opa. But just understand this, you have h, d, o, but if you chronologically think of it or try to sort it, what will be, it will first d will come, then h will come, and then o will come, right? So how do we sort the data? We use the sort command. It's very simple, sort, and I want to just print the hello.txt again. Now you can see that it printed d first, the da and everything, and then hello village, because v comes before w, so hello village, hello world, and then opa. See, it just sorted everything and it just printed. Now instead of sorting the lines of these files, let's say that you want to remove the duplicate lines and find the sorted file. So what do I mean by that? Like if I take an example of same hello.txt, you can see I have multiple hello village, opa and everything, but if I take only one, which is the unique one, so I'll have hello world as a one unique line, da one line, opa one line, hello village one line, da one line. So in order to remove duplicate lines and from a sorted file, we can do uniq and then hello.txt, and I can see it just printed the hello world, all these lines, hello world, da, opa, village, right? So that's how you can do it, because this is how you print the remove duplicates line from a sorted file. Now say that you want to count the number of lines from a file, this hello.txt. Again you can do that using word count, which is wc, and then lines, and I want to do file this hello.txt. As you can see there are total 48 lines in hello.txt. Okay, that's how you can count the word lines as well, line number specifically. Now that's out of the way, so that you want to compress this hello.txt or something into archive or something, right? You want to archive that or into a tarball or a compressed file. How do you do that? There's a command called tar in Linux. So use tar.czvf. I'll mention what this means. So C means create a new archive, Z means compressing that archive file using gzip. Okay, so what is gzip? I'll come to that after this. Okay, just know that this Z commands is used to compress the archive file using gzip. Okay, gzip is this thing, gzip, this thing I'm talking about. So how do I do that? Tar C for compressing whatever file I want to do in a new file or a new archive, exactly, and then compress that archive file using gzip, which we do using Z command, and then I want to output this as a verbose. I want to log it in a verbose mode, so that's why I do V, and then F means I'm specifying the name and the location of the archive file. So in this case I want to archive this file, which is the hello.txt, say archive, for example, .tar.zz, okay, or zz, whatever you want to call it, and then hello.txt, and if I hit enter, it prints the hello world. But if I do ls, you can see this is archive.file that I just created. Now because I was doing like verbose command, that's why it printed this hello.txt, but as you can see I have this archive.txt, sorry, tar.zz. Now say that I want to compress this okay, this hello.txt, because you can see there's still the hello.txt. I want to compress this one now. How do I do that? It's pretty simple. We do gzip hello.txt. If I hit enter, now you can see I got this hello.txt.gzip. So this is how we can, compress file, and this is how we can archive some tar file. Tar is used in Linux to extract some files, or in order to install or do something with that, and this is just compressed. So if you have used Windows, that thing called WinRAR or 7-zip, this is the same thing, right? You just extract, so uncompress or whatever you say, so decompress. So this is what you do with that. And then if you want to decompress this zip file, how do you do that? You do gun zip. Using the gunzip command, you unzip that, like gunzip hello.txt. If I do ls now, you can see now instead of hello.txt it became hello.txt. So yeah, that's how we can get zip file or archive files in tarballs, and you can also unzip using gunzip command. So yeah, now say that I want to remotely access some another Linux machine, Linux server or host machine, whatever you want to call, or something cloud server or virtual machine, anything that you want to access using secure shell or SSH. Okay, so that I have a EC2 AWS EC2 machine hosted on AWS. I want to access that. So here's how I can do that. SSH, using SSH means secure shell. I can remotely connect to another machine over a network. You might have heard this term SSH a lot, so this is how we use it. So SSH using I command, we are giving the perm file. So this is like the secret key that I need to have in order to access my Ubuntu server in Amazon AWS. And now if I hit enter using this SSH command, as you can see I am into the Ubuntu server right now. So for example, say I want to copy some file, securely copy some file between the host on the network machine, and because I am the host and that this connection is a remote machine, I want to copy some file from my machine to this remote server. How do I do that? We do that using the scp command. And because this is a secure shell, or I can only connect this using SSH, I need to give the perm file access only. Yeah, so we use scp and then put the I command to provide the perm file, and then the file name that I want to copy to this Ubuntu server, and where I want to copy into the home folder, which is the home Ubuntu. And if I do that, you can see I got hello.txt. Now as you can see I have hello.txt over here, but if I SSH into the server, as you can see, if I do ls, I also have the hello.txt over here. If I open that cat using cat command, you can see I have the same file over here as well. And that's how securely using scp command copy files between your host machine and over to a network machine. Now say that you want to estimate files and directory in disk usage. Say I want to do du. This is how you can check the disk usage of some file, and we use sh to the directory. So in my case, the shell command that gives the asterisk, which is this file only. And if I do that, you can see that it shows only the files that are inside the experiments file. Disk usage, what are the how much the storage it is taking, and in this case these lab 1 Terraform are taking like 340 MB, something around that, and some other files are taking in KB, kilobytes and everything. But instead of, if I hit remove the asterisk, it will show me total, which is this much. Okay, and now say that I want to check this same thing in my home folder, which I can do that as well. Now it will tell me that cannot read directory, permission denied. Remember the sudo thing, and here how you do that. And if I give the password, just wait for a second. Now as you can see I have 20 GB. Now with that said, say that I want to show the file system disk space usage in a human readable format using dfh command. So it will display all these total size of directories in a human readable format, that as you can see over here. And say that you just want to check, instead of this I want to check in some other folder. Similarly you can do, see if I go into experiments and if I do the same thing but with asterisk, it will show me whatever things are there inside this experiment folder. Now there are some advanced commands as well which I want to show you. For example, there's a command called top, which shows all the monitor systems, processes and resources in real time. So it monitors everything in real time, every process and resources, which you can see here. You can see it says all the tasks that are running and the tasks that are sleeping, the stops tasks that are stopped, and then the total memory, swap memory and CPU usage and everything, and what are the processes that are running, their process IDs, their memory, the times and their variable RTs, resolutions, peers, everything. It shows literally everything using this top command. And to get out of this screen, we use q command. When you use q, it just exits from that, and this was happening in real time. Now there's an advanced variant of this top command, which is htop, and this htop is just the same thing, but it's a interactive process viewer with a bit of enhanced UI. So when you do htop, it shows the same thing, the memory, how much memory I have, the shape memory, how much I have, what is the load that is there, what is the uptime, and how many CPU threads that I have. In this case I have 8 core. So same thing, you use q to quit out of this, and that's it. Now there's one more command called systemctl, which is used to control and manage system services and daemons. So for example, if we do systemctl, you can see all these things that are running currently, all the units and everything, the devices and things that are running over here. And that's how we can check. Say for example, I want to check that if I have my Docker running or not, so I can do systemctl status, the service name, which in my case Docker, and you can see Docker is active. That means I could see that in my computer there's a program called Docker is running, and if it is running or not by a status command. I can also like stop this using the same status. Instead of status, I can do stop. So similarly, if I instead of status do stop Docker, you can see it is asking me for my password, and if I give the password, it will stop that. See, so here I'll close this. That means I don't want to stop this. So similarly, if I do status, you can see still it is running because I did not close it. Now there's one more command called journalctl, which we use to view and manage system logs. So we use that command journalctl. So using this command, we can check literal everything and manage all these system logs. Say for example, same thing. This is system logs, kernels specifically, and say there's a situation where I want to follow the logs in real time. I can do F and it will follow the logs in real time. See, it did not exit. It did not exit at all. It's just it's just there. Until unless I hit Q, it will log everything in real time. So that's about journalctl. Now say that you want to list the open files and processes. How do you do that? You use that lsof command, and if you do that, it will literally print everything. But say that you want to get only the port number related, and that will list all the processes using the specific port. So this is how you do that, like ls of I, which is the port number that you need to give, and any port number. Say for example, I give 8205, and if there's nothing, that's why there's nothing that is running inside this. So that's why it did not print anything. And this is how you can check if there's anything. Now I have one more thing called networking commands that I wanted to share. Say for example, you want to display or configure network interfaces. How do you do that? You use ifconfig command. When you do that, ifconfig, it shows literally every network interfaces that you have in your computer. So right now I have Docker, and then this multicast, and then there's some loop back running, that packet. This is related to packets and my Ethernet connections. Say that I want to display information about my Ethernet or internet specifically. How we can do that? I do ifconfig, and I just do wlan 0, and it says ifconfig not found. Oh sorry, my bad. Oh shit, what is wrong with me? Yeah, so as you can see, I did the right command, ifconfig wlan 0, and here you can see provided literally every details that it has over here. So yeah, if you know any device that you want to print only that one, you can as well print that. And now that say that I want to display IP addresses of the network interfaces, I can also do that using IP addr, and it will show me literally every details of these IP addresses. And then if I do show guess what happens? Same thing. So yeah, this is just a short command, and this is the actual full command. And say that you want to ping something, say you have your own domain. So for example, I have my own domain, which is spantheslayer.com. this is my domain, and I want to send icmp echo request. What is that? It's a request that tells you if this domain is active or not, just like, and we do that using ping command. You might have heard about this ping. So we do ping, and then if I hit enter, it shows that okay, this is running, and where it is running, it shows literal every places where it's coming from. So as you can see, I have my icmp sequence which is being sent, and it is giving me the response. The response time is like 3, 4, 5, on an average 5 milliseconds. So that's how you can use ping command to get all the information about if the domain is or any IP address is running or not. Then say example, you want to print the route packets to take to a network host. How do you do that? So what are route packets? Like when you use internet, it gives you some packets of route where what it contains the data. Now what is a route packet? Say when you surf the internet and when you make some request, it contains that route packet. So in this packet, it contains the actual data, which then get transmitted and then decoded, and then the other party sees that, and then the receiver then decodes that, and then gives the information in an encoded file, and then you also get that and then decode it in your system. So that's how, in simple words, the packet system works. So how do you print the route packets to a specific network host? Say I want to print the same route packets for spantheslayer.com. How to do that? I use traceroute command to do that, and now as you can see, it says traceroute is not present. So I'll install the traceroute command quickly. This is how you install traceroute in your system. So I'm just like installing traceroute. So it's done. Now if I do traceroute spantheslayer.com, as you can see, it's like giving me the packet bytes and everything, like what are the hops that it's doing and the gateway that it's like hopping to. Okay, so right now my local, so it's checking where it's going. If the server is slow or bad, it will give me all kinds of details. So yeah, that's kind of one thing that I wanted to showcase. There's a lot more goes into this, so maybe you can check Network Chuck's video where he explains everything about traceroute and this ifconfig everything. But if you want me to do it, definitely I'll be more than welcome to do that as well in a separate video. But just there's this command traceroute, which we use ping the route packets for our network host. In my case, I'm doing it for spantheslayer.com. And then say that you want to display the network connection information. How do you do that? Or routing table or network interfaces statistics. You do that using netstat. And when you do netstat, it literally shows all the routing tables, connection informations, and network interfaces that it has. So as you can see, the network interfaces that it's using and the protocol it's being used is TCP, the foreign addresses wherever it's going, and what is the state and everything. So yeah, this is how you can check. And say for example, you want to display the tunneling ports. How do you do that? So you do netstat and then you do TLN, which is tunnel, and it only shows the tunneling ports, which in my case TCP and UDP. And now say that you want to investigate these sockets. You do that using SS. So SS shows literally every socket, and you can investigate and see where your problem relies. So if you want to go into networking, then these are the things that are very helpful in Linux networking mostly. And you don't generally use these types of commands, but yeah, these are the commands that are mostly useful when it comes to networking. And because in DevOps, these commands are often get used as well. So for example, I have to set up a on-prem server or any chain server, then it makes so much sense that I use these kind of commands and get to know exactly. And say for example, I'm also writing some script, in that script as well, these commands are very helpful as well. And that's it. And you can also look up some DNS as well just by querying. So for example, you do that using dig command, and I also do that same with spantheslayer.com. So using dig spantheslayer.com, it shows every like tiny bit of details about that spantheslayer. So as you can see, it shows like global option and got answer yes. So these are the answers, and this is this additional servers, the hops that it does, and the records. These are the records like of this domain spantheslayer.com, and what are the query times, what is the server that is running, and message size that it received, and what it's running, is it TCP, UDP, it says UDP. So these are the things that it runs, right? And there's a lot more goes into this. Probably you might not understand exactly what I'm talking about in this all this junk shit, but yeah, do let me know if you want to see an in-depth video about these specific Linux networking commands. I'll specifically do that as well, and just wanted to show you that. So yeah, that's about the networking commands. There are a lot more commands. I just wanted to show you some of these, as because this is a beginner guide. Right now, say that you want to check or display some memories. Okay, let's talk about some memory commands. Say that you want to display some free memory and usages. You just do free command, and it shows exactly that, your memory, how much it is used, how much it is free, how much it is shared, buffet or cache, and how much it is available. It shows that every detail, even though it is not really human readable, but yeah, you'll get used to it once you start to see that. And then say that you want to report virtual memory statistics, or including CPU usage, memory utilization, IO statistics. How do you do that? So you do that using vmstat. So this vmstat command shows exactly how much the memory is used, the CPU usage, memory utilization, IO operations. It shows later those kind of stuff. Now say that you want to take a snapshot of your current process and want to see that including CPU and memory usage. You do that using psaux, and it shows exactly that, and how much your memory, your current process including CPU is being used. So, and now with that said, there's one more command called uptime, which shows for how long your computer is up. So we do that using uptime command. So it shows that this computer is running for almost 9 hours. Yeah, so that's that, and that's pretty much it, I guess, guys. Do let me know if you like this video or not, and I'll make a part 2 where I'll share more commands that are very useful as a hardcore Linux user, and those will be more advanced as well. And that's it. And also please do let me know if you guys want to see that networking commands that I just kind of skipped. I didn't really go into that more details, but yeah. And thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you liked my content, please subscribe. Until then, bye bye.